will you say are the big takeaways from the last 3 months?
Well, the fact that we're still doing well in power. The upgrade in the hotel is almost phased out, and there's a flurry and momentum of activity in the hotel based on what people see and appreciate. And basically, we believe it's a very positive outlook from now till the end of the year for us.
Right. Val, you obviously know the hotel business very well, and it's certainly a bright spot. It has been for the most part of the last several years. The big question is how you take it to the next level. Will it be a case of improving the efficiency, or are you looking to grow the top line as well?
Both. For us, we've dominated the market, and we've also excelled. You know, just recently we received quite a number of global awards, just a testament of the efficiency we have, especially with service quality. Yeah. So with the upgrade we've done, we intend to keep striving to take that to the next notch. But beyond the presence we have in Abuja and Calabar, yeah, we're still looking to expand both what I can call traditionally and non-traditionally. So we're also looking to see how we can explore and leverage technology to expand to the markets that we are not currently in. So we intend to indeed take that to the next level. You do
have a project in Lagos, I believe.
We do.
What's the state of play with that?
Right now, we've finalized the design. We actually completed also the groundworks, the earthworks, but we needed to also secure the final approval from the Lagos State government. Right. But to do that, we also needed to conclude on some land deals we had with Institute of Directors. So that was only completed a few weeks ago, and we've only last week submitted for final approval. So once this is done, then we're ready to go.
Okay, so we look forward to breaking ground on that project. But coming back to the power business, many people continue to talk about how difficult the environment is. But looking ahead, even though you are, there is a change of guard with the business, what's your perspective on that aspect of the business? Because many will say, at the moment, the key drivers of Transcorp's growth are the hotel business and the power business.
Mm-hmm. Well, for the power business, there are a couple of things that have to be done on the value chain. If you notice what is happening there, there's a lot of dislocations on the value chain. Transparency is not even there. The rate at which certain entities in the value chain should remit or do certain things they are meant to do to optimize the flow in that value chain is not done. So I believe the government has, or the regulatory authorities within that space, need to do a lot in terms of, one, ensuring much more transparency in remittances from certain entities to the other entities, ensuring the fact that some policies that have to do with things like eligible customer, meterization in terms of meter asset provider regulations are carried out to the core. If they are, and we continue to see the level of liquidity, gas supply that would see so, the power sector is...
Right. Let's reflect briefly on this payment assurance guarantee. My understanding is that it is more or less a stopgap measure. How would you describe the long-term liquidity challenges that the GenCos in particular face in Nigeria?
Well, the payment assurance program is actually a short-term thing. It's pegged at an amount, 701 billion. It's meant to be extinguished by the World Bank takeaway from it. Yeah. And the World Bank thing will only come into effect if a lot of things are put in the framework in terms of tariff and things like that. But, you know, the rate at which that is being done currently, for instance, the last meeting we attended with NERC, one of the regulatory authorities, says what they are contemplating to get will take about a 2-year timeline. So you can't have a 2-year timeline and then wait for that to take away PAP. So there is obviously something wrong. But I believe where the chairman of NERC has promised and said that we would all sit down together and break it out and ensure that we find a solution to this.
Well, we certainly look forward to that because it's been a while and we continue to wait for that, you know, change in the experience of corporate Nigeria and, of course, also the retail consumer about the power sector and stable power supply in Nigeria.
But just to add that the big elephant in the room is actually making sure that there is cost-reflective tariff in operation. Because until that is done, the value chain will always have an issue.
Right. And while you move on to other things, I want to get your perspective on the outlook for the business that you are more or less
absolutely very
moving
positive.
on from. What would be your message to shareholders in terms of the prospects, especially in the short to medium term?
Well, the outlook is very positive, absolutely very positive. One, we expect a flurry of political activities and momentum in Abuja, both in Abuja and also in Calabar, where we'll have our hospitality businesses, the cultural festival, the carnival that comes up in Calabar, the political activities that will take place in Abuja, the power business, the dry seasons are coming on now, so more evacuation, more production. So the outlook is very positive between now and the end of the year. So for the shareholders, they're guaranteed even a greater return in terms of profitability, and it will be sustained, and the momentum will be there.
Well, what's the prospect of a good dividend payout right now? Or is this a season where you're still looking to invest into the future and keep some cash in the business? In your perspective?
Yes, both. Because cash has to be in the business for the power because you need to maintain the turbines. Cash has to also be in the business because he needs to build more hotel.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Indeed. Well, we look forward to that. So let's talk about the hotels. Clearly, the hotel in Abuja is your flagship, and after the what you've done in terms of the upgrade, certainly I imagine that this will be very positive for the business. But I want to hear your thoughts on the potential to spread elsewhere. You obviously know that business very well. And again, I make the point that many who look at your business today continue to say it's all about the power business and the hotel business. So as you take the helms of affairs for the group right now, I want to hear your perspective, especially about the hotel business and its potential for growth.
Okay, I like to also touch base on other aspects. But for the hotel business, for us, it's been extremely great this year, almost 100% increase in our numbers, 12 billion revenue, 3.4 billion PBT, quarter three. And as the year also wraps to an end, we actually feel that there will be a lot more momentum, not just from the political activities, but also ministries and development organizations trying to round up their year. So quite frankly, we see a great 2018 numbers. And beyond the upgrade, our intention obviously is to keep striving to push into other markets that we're not. We've mentioned Lagos and, of course, Port Harcourt. And I've also said to you that we intend to also explore how to even go beyond just where we're physically present. Now, the importance of this is the fact that this is like a proven model, success that we've recorded across the various indices and over many years. So it's simply to replicate those successes in these new geographies. But I must say that the economy, the exchange rate regime is what has slowed expansion as it should be. What you find is because of how Naira moved from 108 to at some point 550.
That was a huge shock for many businesses, including yours, I'm sure.
So any business you would find where a lot of inputs are foreign, and then you have to only earn mostly in Naira, got dislocated. And so this is why there's been kind of slowness in that expansion drive. But as we get into subsequent next year, we see a lot of momentum building. You can see that even from the way private sector flows are growing. So I see a lot more happening, and the expansion will be a lot more rapid. But beyond that, you mentioned taking over the helms of affairs. So obviously, Adim has nicely captured our drive and intention in the power, but also this oil and gas. That's another area that, as we get into next year, you're going to see a lot more activity. So, and as Transcorp, we're always trying to also reinvent ourselves and see possibly other new businesses, which we will announce at the appropriate time.
Right. And just to reflect on some of the other businesses, in terms of the agro-allied business, I recall when Transcorp was getting listed many years ago, there was that expectation that it was going to be that flagship conglomerate that reflects the broader Nigerian economy. Now, we certainly are seeing that you are invested in the agro-allied space as well, but it does feel as though it's really a power and hospitality play in the short to medium term. Do you see that changing into the future?
Val has even spoken to that now. There are a lot of other areas that we're looking at.
But my point is specifically on the agro-allied space.
Yes, yes. It's an area that provides window of opportunity, and as we identify them, we'll tap into it.